I'm Sarah Bunwell, the editor of fundoperator.com, and I'm here with Marcella Sedol, CFO at Unbound. Marcella is speaking at our Fund Operator Summit Europe later this year, and ahead of that, we just wanted to catch up with her to get a little bit of a flavour of what she's going to be talking about. Hi, Marcella. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Sarah. Pleasure.
So my first question is, what are some of the challenges facing fund operators who want to remain competitive?
I think one of the main challenges, Sarah, that I have definitely noticed since I've been working in this business is the increased competition in the space. So there are more fund operators that are active in this space, whether it's venture capital, private equity, or real estate funds. Obviously, there's a lot of professionals which probably want more from their jobs, and they might do spin-offs from very well-known businesses. They go on their own and basically become competitors. So this would be one of the main challenge, which obviously affects the advisory fees and etc. That can be charged on the back of that. Another challenge, obviously, is finding the good deals and remaining competitive in this space. Obviously, with more competition, it's becoming harder and harder for the fund operators to generate the required margins for the shareholders and for their investors. So they have to fight a lot harder than before and justify, the advisory fees, etc., and remain competitive.
So quite a lot to be thinking about. And then looking at the marketplace, what are some of the current and future trends that are perhaps making this task even harder for fund operators?
Yeah, I think it depends in the space you operate in, but it's finding the right deals, finding them at the right price, being able to run a tight ship as a fund operator, and still be able to generate the returns on the capital promised to the investors. So you are in a very good position to be doing fundraising, the next time you need to. But that's what I would see from a deal perspective and from an operational perspective. As we all know, costs are going higher and higher. And, we're talking about also the margins decreasing for fund operators. With more competition, you have to be more competitive as well when you go to your investors. So you have to offer competitive advisory fees for them to be able to invest in your venture. So obviously tighter margins to manage a bit difficult. It's like a balancing act as costs are going up and the income might be becoming smaller than what the fund operators have been used to. I also think, Sarah, that the business model is changing. So the fund operators, because of the competitive environments, will try and deliver better returns to their investors. So they're also changing their business models. So it's no longer based on a fixed income like advisory fees, and more they're trying to compete in a space where the advisory fees are lower upfront to the investors. But then we can all benefit later on, from the success of the venture. And that's how pretty much I think I definitely can see a shift in the business model.
That makes sense to me. So thinking about all of these challenges that you've raised, what are some of the strategies that perhaps fund operators might be able to use to overcome them?
Apart from obviously a good deal network, I'm only going to be talking from an operational perspective, and a finance perspective. What I found in my career, Sarah, that works very well is running a tight and lean ship. I've always been a great advocate for outsourcing the non-core elements of a business, purely because we're based in London. The main cost on any P&L for a fund operator will be its staff and the cost associated with that. So I personally found if you find really good business partners in the marketplace and you can leverage off them, then you are in a really good position because you can lower your operational costs, but still be able to perform really, really well, in comparison to your competitors. So definitely, there's various views on this. Some people like to have everything in-house from a control perspective. But from my personal experience, I found if you find good business partners outside your business, I think you're in a better position, because you keep the core competencies in-house but everything that's, pretty much repetitive, manual, can be outsourced at a fraction of a price to, business partners, outsourcing providers that do it for a living, and they're, much faster with better systems, etc. Because to be able to sort of meet the challenges, I'm talking operational reporting challenges that, fund operator might find himself in from an investor is, meeting all these deadlines, reporting deadlines, tax deadlines. So you need to invest in good IT systems in-house, and, nothing comes cheap. And sometimes it's really worth leveraging off other people that do this for a living. But that's just my opinion, and probably based on good experience.
Great stuff. Okay, last one from me. So thinking about costs a bit more specifically, how can fund operators look to reduce perhaps some of their operational expenditures?
One, look at, the number of staff that you need into your business, make sure obviously they're paid in line with the market, but at the same time, review your costs, on a basically contract by contract basis. You'd be surprised, the amount you save by reviewing the contracts, making sure that all the services that you pay for are actually necessary and you're using them. And, at the same time, go for the best deal on the market and, find good service providers for good prices. And obviously, Sarah, of course, least but not last, monitor of your cash flow. So basically, as a CFO, it's difficult sometimes to tell, the main partners into a fund that basically, they should be restrained on what they actually spend. But ultimately, cash is king. And in these tough times, definitely something, you need to monitor on a, quarterly, monthly basis, and just be on top of it, basically, and make sure you get good value for your money.
Some great tips there. Obviously, you're speaking at our conference later this year where we'll be discussing this and a whole load of other really critical fund operations issues. And I can't wait to hear more from you and our other speakers there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sarah. It's been an absolute pleasure. Happy to help.